My poem is called The Seer and the Seen, and it's about Gerard Manley Hopkins. It was occasioned by two things. One, that I was reading his work and a biography, and the other was that I wandered into a migration of amber-winged dragonflies very close to my home, and it was so shocking and surprising to be among hundreds. The Seer and the Seen, it has an epigraph. All things, therefore, are charged with love, and if we know how to touch them, give off sparks and take fire. Gerard Manley Hopkins. If fish could swim into air and feed on brilliance, that light thrash frenzy, that glory cloud of jots and zags, gold dragonflies with golden wings. And he in their midst, almost as if they'd called him, almost as if to say, here, stranger, you can safe keep your love here. Say it was like that. The stars are like letters that inscribe themselves every moment, whispers Plotinus across centuries. And didn't the diminutive Jesuit seek to describe them? Didn't he translate as best he could? He came to his writing desk, which was failure, whenever he could bear it. If Plotinus was right, then he is right. Desire is seated in the soul, and iridescence dwells in the retina. If it is not possible to distinguish between the seer and the seen, then God must be present both in the world and our gaze. Attentions lifted and carried, a man gathered into the visible so utterly. Landscape unladens itself, love loosens, that's it. The new word is inscape. The cornea is nourished by tears. At the moment of greatest intensity comes the next moment. The cant of the seen world, the warp, the question of lack, Father Flaw, Father Daft, separation. He died in a crumbling stone house in Dublin, his city of exile, believing his poems would never be seen. Near the end, he insisted something terrible had happened to his eyes. The old story said dragonflies like us are capable of harm. Eye pokers, darning needles, they'll sew your lids shut. On that last walk out, he imposed on himself the discipline of the eyes, his penance, looking down, his refusal. But he could not choose not to feel the gaze from the emissary, green bound in its body, tendril, twine twirled, to raise his face, beheld in the stem the life rush between them, to behold leaf light, like a headwind off ecstasy, like a drift of ether, like a loose halo. After some time, returned to where pain kept him. So, say it's mostly about loss then. Except maybe he disappeared into joy in those weeks of fever, a thorn flicking loose in the cornea and ripping sideways, the sheath torn as vision filmed over. Dragonflies swarmed, as light snows, as they blizzard air with gold, oh star shapes, to take in fully that fire changes everything, how lucent the flames where love burns.